So today I'm going to be going over the entire Givenchy Gentleman line of fragrances, everything from the 1974 version all the way through to the newest Eau De Toilette Intense. Now really quickly, one thing I want to make clear is I'm just covering the Gentleman line. There's also the Gentleman Only line, so there's Gentleman Only Absolute, Gentleman Only, and I believe another one that I have as well. And those are going to be covered in a separate video just because they are technically a different line. Some of those only fragrances are also discontinued, a bit harder to find, so I still need to hunt those down. So today we're just going over basically the Gentleman, the original 1974 to the Eau De Toilette, EDP, those Gentleman fragrances. And really this is the line that seems to get the most hype anyway, so this is the one that we're going to be focusing on. The good news about this one is all of the fragrances in this particular line are still in production. You can still buy these at discounters and other places online. I will provide links to them down below. Let's go ahead and crack right into it, starting off with Gentleman 1974 edition. This one has patchouli, honey, leather, and civet as some of the main notes. Now this fragrance does not smell like anything that's being put out in today's standards. That should be no surprise to you. This has an animalic, strong, masculine, and old school type of vibe about this one. For me, it's not really one that I would gravitate towards. It's not really something that I would reach for, but I do like the scent and I do appreciate it for what it is. You get a lot of that leather, you get a lot of that honey, you get that animalic touch in here. This is very much a 1970s fragrance release. And I want to be very clear and say that this 1974 release is worlds apart from the Eau De Toilette 2017 Gentleman release. So when you're buying these online, make sure you know what you're buying. If you want the new 2017 Gentleman, you want to make sure you shop for that one. Otherwise, you could end up getting just this original Gentleman. Performance on this one is really good. It's a very strong, heavy, dense scent. I get every bit of 8 hours and sometimes more out of this one in terms of longevity. Projection is also strong. This one really will announce itself and push out pretty good. It's affordable, like really all of the ones in this line can be picked up for usually I want to say around $50, sometimes under, making it affordable and a nice pickup if you want something kind of old school, you want something mature. Up next, we're going to go ahead and cover Gentleman Eau De Toilette, the 2017 release. So this one has iris, pear, and lavender as some of the main notes. So you'll find that when you look at this online, just the original Eau De Toilette, you don't hear much about this one. This easily gets overshadowed heavily by the Eau De Parfum, which we'll talk about next. Personally, I really like this Eau De Toilette. I think it smells fantastic, and I think this one is criminally underrated. I didn't pick this one up for the longest time. This is actually one of the last Gentlemans I've picked up. If not, I think it is the last one. I even bought the new Eau De Toilette Intense before I had this one because same thing was happening with me. I was getting overshadowed by the EDP and even, Boisé and the Cologne and everything else. I just never really paid too much attention to this one, and I wish I would have sooner. You get a nice, fresh, juicy, fruity pear in the opening. That iris comes through, but it's a very fresh iris. You get a nice, clean lavender feel overall, making this one very fresh, very bright, and very, very wearable and also versatile. This right here would be a killer compliment getter, one that will really get you a lot of positive feedback without you having to try. This one can be worn pretty much all year around. It's got that freshness to work in warmer weather, and it also has a bit of a depth to it, a little bit to work in cooler weather, although I think there are some better cooler weather options in here. Still really good fragrance here. Gentleman EDT 2017. This is one you don't want to sleep on. Performance I find to be pretty average. It's a good 6-7 hour fragrance in terms of longevity. Sometimes you may get a little bit more. Projection, it is also a really good projector because it is an Eau De Toilette. It'll really push out, and the warmer it is when the sun is coming down, the stronger and harder this one will project. Really nice option here. And again, it floats around that $40 to $50 price range. Up next, let's go ahead and cover the Eau De Parfum, easily the most popular fragrance in this line. This is one that usually gets all of the hype, all of the attention, and for good reason. This is a really good fragrance. Now this one has vanilla, Tolu balsam, iris, and black pepper as some of the main notes. Simply put, this one is going to go in a sweeter, and stronger direction, both in terms of performance and also just in terms of the scent. You get the vanilla in here, giving it a nice sweetness, a bit of a creamy touch. The Tolu Balsam gives off a kind of like an amber type of smell. The iris, of course, gives off a floral touch. The iris is still relatively light in this one. It's not super strong. It's not super offensive to people out there. I mean, it's still going to be a good compliment getter. And then you get a nice black pepper spice up top when you first spray this one on. This one's creamy, warm, smooth. Oh man, and it is really good for fall and winter time. Actually, one of my favorite winter fragrances. This gets compared to Dior Homme Intense. And I do see the comparison there, but the way I look at it is this is almost a more wearable, more mass-pleasing version of Dior Homme Intense. DHI is very much a collector's fragrance for the most part, an enthusiast fragrance. Of course, it's going to get you compliments, but that one really does appeal to people with a true passion for fragrances and people who really want something different and who really like the iris note with a bit of a chocolatey type of feel. This one goes down that same road, but just more mass-pleasing, more emphasis on vanilla, making it a bit more relatable to people, and it is just very much a smooth and sexy fragrance here. Performance on my skin is about 8 hours and sometimes a bit more, so really good performer and really the best performer from the entire line on my skin. This one along with the Gentleman 1974 release, of course. Projection is also pretty strong. Now it's not going to be as strong as some of the other lighter, fresher ones in here, and you're also most likely going to be wearing this in cooler weather where you don't have the sun and the heat really helping it to project, but it still does project good. This could be worn on a date, it could be worn out to work, really about anything in the cooler weather. This one will have your back. Same thing here with this one, goes for around $50 on discounters, making it not only affordable, but also kind of an affordable alternative to Dior Homme Intense, which you're going to be paying basically double the price for. All in all, I can't say enough good things about Gentleman EDP. Again, very much a hype scent, but it is 100% deserved. Really nice release. Up next, we have Gentleman Cologne. Now this one has bergamot, iris, lemon, and petitgrain as some of the main notes. So very much a citrus forward fragrance here, a true cologne type of scent like you would expect. This one does still keep the iris, which I love, and it is a great combination. Another one that I wouldn't really say is underrated because it does get talked about, but it's not talked about as much as some other cologne fragrances out there. Dior Homme Cologne, for example, one of my favorites. I really like Dior Homme Cologne, as the sun is blinding me here. But this one doesn't get talked about as much as that one. But it is a really nice, fresh take on this whole DNA here. So you still do get the iris in this one. Smells fantastic. It's a nice, fresh, light iris. It's a bit soapy as well. Kind of like a similar soapiness that you would find in something like Prada L'Homme. Doesn't smell like Prada L'Homme, but it does have that clean, fresh soapiness going on. You get the citrus like the bergamot and the lemon and everything like that. You also get the petitgrain. That gives off kind of a green smell. Kind of gives off something similar to a neroli. So it smells really nice. A great combination. And if you want something unique and different and high quality and affordable for summertime, Gentleman Cologne is the way to go. The iris is not too strong in here. It's not overpowering. It really works together very well. Another one of my favorites. There are some really good scents kind of within this line here that you may not realize, and this is definitely one of them. Up next, we have Gentleman Boisé. This one has iris, sandalwood, cacao pod, and woods as some of the main notes. So very sandalwood heavy. You still do get that iris. Still get the cacao pod, kind of gives off a chocolatey feel. The sandalwood is going to be really kind of the main player for me, along with the iris. And it gives off a masculine, smooth, and warm type of scent. Now this is quite a bit different than the Eau De Parfum of Givenchy, because it's got, I don't know, it doesn't really have the vanilla. It's a different type of iris here, and again, it's more pronounced on the sandalwood, and it just kind of gives off more of a smooth and creaminess. There's less black pepper in this one. There's less like sweet vanilla in this one. Even more mass appealing take on the Eau De Parfum, in my opinion. This is something where if you don't like the Eau De Parfum, whether it be the iris or whatever, or something about it you don't like, you'll probably like Boisé. This one's very mass appealing. Actually, when this one came out, it wasn't that well regarded. A lot of people didn't really like it, and I was kind of there as well, where I didn't dislike it, but I was like, oh, this doesn't really blow me away that much. But as I smell this one more and as I wear it more, it has started to grow on me. I like the heavy sandalwood. I like the iris mixture. I do find this one to be nice and desirable. Performance on my skin is about 7 hours on average, and solid projection as well. Another one that works great in the cooler months. I do believe this one has hit discounters by now, so you can pick it up. It may not be down to the price of some of the other ones yet because it did come out last year, but it'll get there at some point, and definitely worth a pickup if you want something just a bit of a different variant to the Eau De Parfum. And last up, we're going to be checking out Gentleman Eau De Toilette Intense. Now this one has cypress, iris, and cardamom as some of the main notes. So really for me, smells basically nothing like the Eau De Toilette, the 2017 or the 1974. It doesn't smell like either of those. For me, I do get the iris. I do get a little bit of the cardamom up top, giving it a nice spicy, somewhat oriental opening. And I also get a lot of the cypress. The cypress gives off this masculine, woody type of smell about this one. Now the thing about this one is, to my nose, I pick up on a lot of cashmere. And that's a note that really I'm not the biggest fan of. Something like Dior Homme 2020, Dolce & Gabbana, the one Eau De Parfum Intense, those use cashmere heavily, and I don't like those fragrances that much because of that. I just don't really like the smell of the note. It is an aroma chemical, and it's kind of seemed to almost be like the next Ambroxan, where a lot of fragrances have been playing with that note, and it's actually not listed in this fragrance as far as I'm aware, but I pick up on it, or something similar to it, and that's part of that aspect there makes me not crazy about this one. But I still do like it. I like the cypress, I like the iris, I like the cardamom, I like it overall, but this isn't really one of my favorites. So we're down to the end of the video where I'm going to tell you which ones are my favorite and which ones I would recommend you to pick up. Really, I'm just going to start from the top here. Gentleman Eau De Toilette 2017, I really like, and I think that one is definitely worth a pickup. Gentleman Eau De Parfum, I also really like, and I think that one is worth a pickup. You can look at it as EDT is going to be for spring and summer, nights out, going to work, that sort of thing. EDP is going to be fall and winter, nights out, going to work, dates, that sort of thing. I also really like Cologne. That's another great one. You can look at that one as being your summer casual when you're going, out in the daytime, running some errands in summertime when it's really hot, the sun's beating down, where the EDP would be too sweet, and even the EDT might be a little too sweet. You can go for the citrus-heavy cologne. And finally, even Boisé, I think it's really worth a pickup. It's going to be a different take, and maybe a bit more of a generic, and maybe a bit more uninspired take for some people, but as it's grown on me, I've really liked it more and more. I like the sandalwood in there. Just gives off kind of a cologne-y type of smell, like I've talked about before. Kind of has that men's cologne smell to it, and it just is a bit more of a wearable take on the EDP. So those are the ones that are my favorite. Those are the ones I'd recommend you guys to pick up as well. If you're interested, I will link them down below so you can grab them at a discount. That's going to do it for me, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.